So yes, very good morning to all the students of class plus one. Today, so we are going to have the second period as a plus, you can say, of English. Fine, so a bit of change. We have read so far in this play Mother's Day. As you can see, before continuing, I would like to, please have a look on this board, and one quote is written. Who will read this quote for me? Students are still joining, so that's why I'm not continuing the chapter, because there are some changes in the timetable. Maybe that's why. Now they are joining. Raghav, read this quote, beta.
A mother is she who can take place of all others, but whose place no one else can take.
So this is one of the quotations actually, fine. And this quote is, apt on this chapter. So that's why I don't, because we have discussed from the last 3 days, we are doing this chapter and we have discussed various themes, importance of mothers and how mothers take care of household work and how, sometimes we take mothers for granted and we never respect and we are never being thankful to her, no gratitude towards her. We start taking each and everything so casually, because we are getting in abundance. Mothers are taking care of each and every small thing that we start taking them for granted. So this quote is exactly apt. A mother is the one who can take place of all others, but whose place no one else can take. So when it comes to performing the role of a mother, when somebody asks us, okay, you do this all household works today and mother is going to sit free, then we will realize, okay, that how many efforts she actually puts in throughout the day, and we have never ever paid attention towards it, because we are getting the things easily without being putting in efforts. We are getting our tea ready, our clothes are ready, what to wear and all, uniform is already ironed by the mother, and then you go to your tiffins are ready, whether you're going to tuitions or you were coming to school. So they were the ones who were helping you out in each and every situation. So a mother is the one who is doing multitasking. Some mothers are working also, so they are even along with the work, they're managing their families, that household work, and a lot of responsibilities are there. When she is ready to take the place of all, but we are not able to actually. So this is also one of the prominent themes of this play, Mother's Day. Characters already introduced to you: Anne Pearson, Doris Pearson, Cyril, George. This is the Pearson family. Anne Pearson is one submissive character. Fine. And Doris is the daughter. Cyril is the son. George is husband of Anne Pearson. So all these characters will, interact with Anne Pearson, who's the protagonist of this play. Then we have Mrs. Fitzgerald, who is neighbor plus friend of Anne Pearson. So in brief, again, because there can be some students who were not there, that's why in brief I'm telling again. Mrs. Fitzgerald is very bold and a confident lady. She is fortune teller. She is into tarot card reading. So one day she comes to the house of Anne Pearson, and they were talking about the family issues, and Mrs. Fitzgerald, advises Mrs. Pearson that you should take a stand for yourself. You're so submissive, and all members of your family, Doris, Cyril, George, all three of them, they keep on snubbing you, they keep on giving orders to you, and you are ready to take orders. One should take stand for oneself. You should spend time with your own company also. But Mrs. Anne Pearson was so submissive, she was saying no to it directly. She was says that I don't want any sort of conflict in my family, so let it be. But Mrs. Fitzgerald, being fortune tellers, being having the magical, you can say, enchanting of mantras, she does, and she holds the hand of Mrs. Anne Pearson. She exchanged their personalities. Though this chapter is written in the form of a fiction, but the message it is giving is not fictional. Okay, the message is too true. It is real. So Mrs. Fitzgerald is going to have the traits of Mrs. Anne Pearson. She becomes submissive, and after exchanging personality, Mrs. Anne Pearson becomes bold and confident. She starts answering back to the family members. And now, one by one, every member of the family, Doris, Cyril, and George, will be coming back. When firstly Doris comes, she asks for the tea, she asks for her yellow dress, whether it is ironed or not. And she had very, you can say, bad arguments with the mother, and mother insulted her literally. Then Cyril also comes home. Then again, he asks the same question about her things were ready or his tea is prepared. Again, Anne Pearson, says that you can do it for yourself. And now is the turn of George Pearson. This is what we are going to continue. Fine, I'm going to share the screen. Please have a look. So you can see when brother and sister, they had, tough times with their own mother, and they were shocked to see that what has happened to the mother. When mother was inside, you can say she went to take her stout, and she went inside, and both of them were apprehensive that, had she, hit her head somewhere, or why she's behaving in a this barmy way, has she gone crazy and all. So they were discussing, and now they were so excited because Father George Pearson is about to enter into the scene, and they are like, excited to see what will be the reaction of mother. They think that mother will be scared or what. Let's see. So from this page number 42, beta. Mrs. Pearson, I was yawning at your jokes before you were born, Doris. Almost tearful again. What's making you talk like this? What have we done? So when they were laughing together, mother said that these are the bad and poor jokes you are cracking. And, and Doris again becomes teary-eyed, and she says that, why are you talking like that? What have we done? Mrs. Pearson, nothing, but come in, ask for something, go out again, then come back when there is nowhere else to go. Then when sometimes they go out of the house, again they come, again they go out. And mother is now, otherwise mother never noticed this thing, but now she is taunting them for this thing also. Cyril aggressively, look, if you won't get tea ready, then I'll find something to eat myself. As if it is a kind of favor to the mother. So Cyril is saying, nahi, hamare liye chai banaoge, to I'll find something to eat myself. Mrs. Pearson कहती, why not? Help yourself. This is what I want. She takes a sip of stout. She's least bothered what children are saying and doing. This is the attitude of Mrs. Fitzgerald, actually. She has received. Fine. I think it's a bit thick. I have been working all day. It's a bit thick means it's too hard on your part. It's so difficult how you're behaving. I have been working all day. Again, same thing is said by son also. Beti ne bhi bola tha. Doris also said the same thing, that I worked so hard, for the whole day, and you are now saying like this again. But they never noticed that mother was working 24/7. Fine, she though she is not a working woman, but even at home, she's always ready to serve whosoever comes at home. Same here, Doris says, 8-hour day, calmly. Mrs. Pearson counts the hours. 8 hours day? Yes, 8-hour day, and don't forget it. Cyril says, I have done my 8 hours. See, and she says, मेरे 8 hours तो complete हो गए. Then अगर आप 8 घंटे काम करके आए हो, you have done your job. My work is also done. Cyril says, that's different. Of course it is. Cyril and Doris both are saying that is a different case. You are at home only, Mrs. Pearson. It was different, but now it is not. 40-hour week for all now. So she is putting bifurcations now. She's putting conditions now, that the way you people work, fine, 5 days a week or 6 days a week, and some hours, 44 hours a week. Just watch it at the weekend when I have my 2 days off. And she's saying, the way you people work, I will have 44 hours per week, and I will also take Saturdays and Sundays off. My weekends are off. I won't work. Doris and Cyril exchange alarmed glances. They were shocked how the mother is saying this. Then they stare at Mrs. Pearson, who returns their look calmly. So she's, at peace, enjoying her stout and talking to the kids in a very cool way, and they are shocked. Now Cyril was hungry, so he says, must grab something to eat. Looks as if I need to keep my strength up. So Cyril exits to the kitchen. So he says that now I definitely need to eat something, because I need to eat something to keep my strength up. Strength is lost out of, a lot of conversation with mother also. Moving to the settee anxiously, Mummy, you don't mean you are not going to do anything on Saturday and Sunday? So Doris is confirming again from her mother that you're not going to work on weekends, Mrs. Pearson. Eerily, having high ears about herself. No, I wouldn't go that far. I might make a bed. कहती इतना भी नहीं. Like I have not thought so far. Yes, it's my wish. I might make a bed or two, and do a bit of cooking as a favor. As a favor, I can do a bit of cooking, or as a favor, I can make bed also. Sorry, which means, of course, I'll have to be asked very nicely and thanked for everything and generally made a fuss of. So this is the condition of Mrs. Pearson now, that generally you people make very fuss about it. I will do something like making the bed or cooking a bit as per my wish. But if you will ask me nicely, you have to request me nicely. Then after I'm done, you have to thank me also for that. Clear? But any of you 40-hour-a-weekers who expect to be waited on hand and put on Saturday and Sunday with no thanks for it are in for a nasty disappointment. 40 hours means which 40 hours work करते हैं, 5 days in a week, Saturday Sunday off होते हैं इनके, बाहर चले जाते हैं, 5 days 8 hours per week they have, fine, 5 into 8 40. And that's why she's saying that don't expect that you will be, you will be in a nasty disappointment, might go off for a weekend perhaps. So I can take off also, and I can do a bit of favor also. So this is what mother has put in conditions. So welcome Diksha to the class. You have been taking off so casually. Be particular now onwards, already lecture shortage is going on. I hope, Diksha, it is clear to you. It is compulsory to attend classes regularly. Doris, aghast. Go off for the weekend. Mrs. Pearson, why not? I could do with a change. Stuck here day after day, week after week. If I don't need a change, who does? But where would you go? Where would you go with? So Doris is, making fun of the mother. Kiske saath jaoge? She's thinking that mother is just, faking the things that she will go out and she will have good time. Kiske saath? With who? Mrs. Pearson, that's my business. You don't ask me where you should go and who should you go with. Do you? So she gives instructions to her daughter clearly. That's my thing. I will decide. I'm no one to give you answer back about this thing. That's different, Doris says. The only difference is that I'm a lot older and better able to look after myself. So it's you who should do the asking. So mother is making clear that you do not know where to go and with whom to go. You should ask. I am an adult. I know, I am much experienced person. I know what to do. So it is you better you should ask. Doris, did you fall or hit yourself with something? Again, she asked the mother, कि आप कहीं पे गिर गए थे या कहीं पे आपके चोट लग गई थी सिर पे? What has happened? Because this is the drastic change in the mother. Otherwise, mother was always, ready to serve, standing always and taking their orders. And now she's like very much particular. I'll hit you with something, girl, if you don't stop asking silly questions. She says, I will hit you now if you ask me such stupid question. Doris stares at her open mouth, ready to cry. Oh, this is awful. She begins to cry, not passionately. Now she's crying again. How her mother is behaving. She's not able to accept it. Mrs. Pearson, stop blubbering, blubbering like the baby, weeps, the way baby cries. तो उसको blubbering बोल देते हैं. You are not a baby if you are old enough to go out with Charlie Spence. You are old enough to behave properly. Now stop it. See, she's not leaving a single stance of taunting. Mrs. Pearson कहती वैसे तो Charlie Spence के साथ घूमने जाते हो. You have your own personal life, and now you are blubbering like a baby. You can take your decisions. You are smart enough, so you are old enough to behave nicely also. Don't behave stupidly in front of me. George Pearson. Beta, this is the entry of husband. Now let's see. After insulting the daughter, after insulting the son, now it is the turn of George Pearson. Very interesting. Now it is. George Pearson enters left. He's about 50. Please underline, this is the character sketch of George Pearson. He's about 50, fundamentally decent, but solemn, self-important, pompous. Pompous means the person who shows off, who believes in showing off the things. Preferably, he should be a heavy, slow-moving type. He notices Doris tears. So he's in his 50s. He's very, pompous and self-important, having high years about himself, fundamentally decent, So usko dekh ke pata lagta hai ki he is into this thing. Clear? Hello, what's this? Can't be anything to cry about. So he is worried ki why daughter is crying. He asked, why are you crying? And through sobs, you will see, rote rote Doris कहती कि तुम्हें भी अभी पता लग जाएगा why I'm sobbing. Doris runs out left with a sob or two on the way. George stares after a moment, then looks at Mrs. Pearson. He was confused. ये क्यों भाग रही है इधर उधर रो रही है my daughter? And he looks at his wife. George, did she say you will see it? Yes. What did she mean? ये क्या मतलब हुआ उसने ये क्यों बोला आपको पता लग जाएगा? Mrs. Pearson, better ask her. How would I know? George looks slowly again at the door, then at Mrs. Pearson. Then he notices the stout that Mrs. Pearson raises for another sip. His eyes almost bulge, bahar aa gayi eyes uski. What is this? My daughter is having stout. She's drinking. She's taking a sip. Uske liye shocking thing ye bhi hui. Fine for his wife never drank earlier and now she was enjoying stout all alone without any company. Stout? Yes. What are you drinking stout for? Because I fancied some, because I wanted to. At this time of the day? Yes. What's wrong with at this time of the day? Mother asked, bewildered. Again, George is confused. Nothing, I suppose, but I have never seen you do it before. Well, you are seeing me now with heavy distaste, yes, and I don't like it. It doesn't look right. I'm surprised at you. See, husband drinks, husband goes out, husband whatever does, he thinks it is right. See the statement, it doesn't look right. I'm surprised at you. Ki tere ko acha nahi lag raha hai. Well, that ought to be a nice change for you. What do you mean? It must be some time since you were surprised at me, George. इतनी बहुत time हो गया आपको surprise दिए हुए. So this is the big surprise for you. I don't like surprises. I'm all for a steady going on. You ought to know that by this time. By the way, I forgot to tell you this morning, I wouldn't want any tea. Special snooker match night at club tonight and a bit of supper going, so no tea. तो आके कहते कि I forgot to told you, my dear, that आज मुझे चाय नहीं चाहिए because I have a special dinner, special supper at my club. I'm going to play golf. Fine. Snooker. Sorry, golf कह रही हूँ मैं. Special snooker match. You know that snooker, hitting the ball with a stick. That game. So he's thinking that मैंने तो चाय पीनी नहीं है. इसने prepare, वो पहले क्या करती थी? She would, ready for the tea and everything. The whatever they want to wear and everything was ready. They would come, they would have their tea, they would change their clothes and they would go out without asking her how is she, without thanking her, without taking note of her. And Mrs. Pearson कहती, that's all right. फिर मैं क्या करूं? There is not any. मैंने कौन सा चाय बना के रखी है? There is not any. Astonished. You mean you did not get any ready? So George is shocked. देखो George को चाय पीनी भी नहीं है, but even then he is ready. कि why the hell my wife has not prepared tea for me? In case I wanted to have it, then see. So he's so particular कि अगर मैंने चाय पीनी होती तो उसने तो बनाई नहीं है. He is worried about this thing. Yes, and a good thing too, as it's turned out. अच्छी बात है ना, कहती नहीं बनाई तो तूने कौन सा पीनी थी? It's turned out. That's all very well, but suppose I had wanted some. अगर मैंने पीनी होती तो, my goodness, listen to the man, annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. Ever tried that at the club? कि wife को गुस्सा आ जाता है because she's having the traits of Mrs. Fitzgerald now. My goodness, listen to this man. he's annoyed with me because he wants to have tea जो उसको पीनी भी नहीं थी, उसके लिए annoyed हो रहे. यदि try this thing at your club, अपने club जाके try करना. Tried what at the club? क्या try करूं? Mrs. Pearson going up to the bar and telling them you don't want a glass of beer, but you are annoyed because they have not already poured it for you. Try that on them and then see what you get. Go at your club and ask them that you have not poured my beer into the glass. Even if you don't want to have it, फिर देखना जरा जवाब वहां से आता है तेरे को. I don't know what you are talking about. They would laugh at you even more than they do now. Beta, this is the utter sheer insult which is going to be started here. She is going to insult her husband now. यदि वो already तेरा बहुत मजाक उड़ाते हैं क्लब पे, थोड़ा और उड़ा लेते हैं, they would laugh at you even more than they do now. George indignantly, laugh at me? They don't laugh at me. Of course they do. You ought to have found that out by this time. You don't know. Anybody else would have done. कोई और होता तो उसको पता भी चल चुका होता अब तक कितना मजाक तेरा बनता है क्लब पे. She is telling that. You are one of their standing jokes. Famous. They call you Pompey Pearson because they think you are so slow and pompous. So this is what she's calling names of her husband now. She's saying that, do you know your friends at the club, they call you Pompey Pearson because you are into showing off the things and you are too slow about the things and you're not at all active. They call you Pompey Pearson. Horrified. Never. It's always beaten me. Why you should want to spend so much time at a place where they are always laughing at you behind your back and calling you names. So Mrs. Pearson says, this is the truth. Mrs. Pearson is telling him, but earlier she never had the courage to tell him. But now having the traits of Mrs. Fitzgerald, she's doing so. Leaving your wife at home night after night instead of going out with her, who doesn't make you look a fool? Yes, you are a fool. Everybody comes along with their partners at club and you go all alone without asking me. And Cyril enters right with a glass of milk in one hand and a thick slice of cake in the other. So Cyril was hungry, mother ne kuch banaya nahi tha, so he brought his milk and cake. And George almost turns to him appealingly. Now George is also shocked what's happening. Cyril, you have been with me to the club once or twice. They don't laugh at me and call me Pompey Pearson, do they? तो सिरिल से कंफर्म करता है अपने बेटे से कि तुम तो जाते हो मेरे साथ क्लब में. Do you think they call me Pompey Pearson? Cyril embarrassed and hesitates angrily. Go on, tell me, do they? Again, Cyril was embarrassed. Well, yes, Dad, I'm afraid they do. So son also confirms this. Yes, Dad, they do call you Pompey, they insult you. Because this was the truth. But, wife never had the courage to tell him. Now she got the courage, finally. George slowly looks from one to the other, staggered, confused. Slowly, when I will be damned, he was so shocked. He exits left slowly, almost as if somebody had hit him over the head. Cyril, after watching him go, turns indignantly to Mrs. Pearson. Ab Cyril aa jata hai apni mother ke paas. Now you should not have told him that, Mom. That's not fair. You have hurt his feelings and mine too. Cyril usko bol raha hai apni mother ko that you have already, tortured us. You hurt us. And now you are hurting your husband. This is not true. You should not, you should not have told him. Agar wo kehte hain to kehne do. Aapko batana hi nahi chahiye tha. Sometimes it does people good to have their feelings hurt. This is truth. The truth ought not to hurt anybody for long. This is the truth. It will hurt him for now, but it will not hurt him later on. He should know this. If your father didn't go to the club so often, perhaps they would stop laughing at him. So why does he go all alone over there quite often? Her Rose Club ja raha hai and getting be the, you can say, at the standing joke for them. Cyril, I doubt it. Possibly you do, but what I doubt is whether your opinion is worth having. What do you know? Nothing. You spend too much time and good money at greyhound races and dirt tracks and ice shoes. Now, Mrs. Pearson, see, beta, Mrs. Pearson knows everything about her family, but she never spoke about it. She knows that her daughter was dating Charlie Spence, a bugged-teeth, half-witted boy. She knows that her husband goes to the club on daily basis and people call call him names and call him Pompey Pearson. But even then, she never stopped him. She also knows that her own son wastes a lot of money. Greyhound tracks, beta, a lot of time in dirt. जहाँ पे वो races नहीं होती हैं horses की, and people, bet on the things that which horse will win and how then they get money also. You know that? Okay, send me your feedback. Those who are attending the class, in between, I'm checking that also. जल्दी से जिनको clear हो गया सारा कुछ. Very good. Come on, everyone is there. जिसका hand raise नहीं होएगा उसका name announce होएगा अभी. वंश कपूर, हरमन, दीक्षा, जैकलिन. Diksha is there. Fine. Vansh Kapoor nahi hai. Okay, fine. Vansh is there. Clear. Fine. Jacqueline is there. Okay, fine. Okay, all are there. Fine. So thoda late response hai. That's why I named you. Sorry for that. So, beta chapter sabko clear ho raha hai. Very important because this is the play carrying is one of the longest chapters carrying so many questions in it. So please be there. Okay. Now tell me, बहुत ही easy question I'm going to ask you. बहुत ही easy question. Anjali, unmute yourself. What do people call Mr. Pearson at the club? Simple question. क्या बोलते हैं?
Ma'am, they call him Pompey, and also call him Pompey, and also told him with different names.
So you can mute yourself. They call him Pompey Pearson. Fine. This is what calling names का मतलब होता है. किसी के नाम बनाए, जैसे आप किसी के name रख देते हो, short name, funny name, just to insult that person in that way. Fine. So people at the club, they have, they call him Pompey Pearson at his back, as he is very pompous, and he quite oftenly goes to club without his wife also, and always he goes there all the time. तो उनको लगता है कि ये रोज आ जाता है club में, and he's quite into this pompousness. Fine. So that's why people call him names. Then, she tells her son that, you spend a lot of time on greyhound tracks. Fine. जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा races and all that stuff. And you spend too much money and time. पैसा भी waste करते हो, time भी waste करते हो at greyhound races and dirt tracks and ice shows. These are the, preferences of the son. She knows. Well, what if I do? I have got to enjoy myself somehow, haven't I? So Cyril says, मुझे भी enjoy करना है. I wouldn't mind so much if you were really enjoying yourself, but are you? And where is it is getting you? There is a sharp, hurried knocking heard of left. So mother is now telling the son the reality. ये पैसे उड़ा के, इतनी मेहनत करके, then you spend money on the weekends, you go to the races and ice shows and greyhound dirt tracks, and you waste your money. Where it is taking you? कहाँ लेके जा रहे हैं ये सब चीजें? Fine, these are the bad habits, beta, actually, betting and all, or spending money on such things. So she is now teaching a lesson to everybody. I wouldn't mind so much if you were really enjoying yourself. Kathy, this is not the enjoyment. Cyril, might be for me. I will see. This is my life, my decision. Cyril hurries out left. In a moment, he re-enters, closing the door behind him. It's that silly old bag from next door, Mrs. Fitzgerald. You don't want her here, do you? जब वो बात ही कर रहे होते हैं, there is knocking heard of left. You can see knocking होती है door पे. And Cyril कहता है कि that silly old bag. Silly old bag किसको बोला उसने? Mrs. Fitzgerald को. Fine, because she's healthy also, and she says that silly old bag and Mrs. Fitzgerald, उसको ही तूने बुलाया है. Fine. So Mrs. Pearson, certainly I do. Ask her in and don't call her a silly old bag. She's a very nice woman with a lot more sense than you will ever have. तुमसे ज़्यादा sense है उसको. Don't say so. Fine. So Cyril exits left. Mrs. Pearson finishes her stout, smacking her lips, enjoying that stout, and Cyril re-enters left, with ushering in Mrs. Fitzgerald, who hesitates in the doorway. See, Mrs. Fitzgerald जो इतनी bold थी, वो hesitate कर रही है enter करते हुए, because उनमें trait आ चुके हैं Mrs. Pearson. Okay, so well is gone. We will continue tomorrow. Please keep on reading and keep on attending the classes also. Okay, have a nice day.